Have you ever snapped at someone and suddenly realized you sounded exactly like the person who hurt you? Picture this. You're at work, you're stressed, cornered, behind on everything. A junior coworker asks you a simple question, and before you can stop it, this cold little laugh comes out of you. I already explained this. Then your stomach drops? Because that tone wasn't yours. That was your boss's tone. The exact, dismissive, superior, impatient voice that made you feel small for months. You hated it. You swore you'd never talk to anyone like that. And it just came out of your mouth like you'd rehearsed it for years. Here's the comforting lie most of us believe. We think hatred creates distance. We assume that if we despise someone's cruelty, their arrogance, their coldness, our brain builds a wall. We tell ourselves, I will never become like that. But that belief isn't just wrong. It might be backwards. Because the person you reject most may be the person your nervous system is studying most closely. And the more dangerous they feel, the more detailed your imitation becomes. This isn't a sign you're secretly evil. It's not weakness either. It might be one of the oldest survival tactics your brain has. So let's pull it apart, piece by piece, and figure out why your mind keeps turning you into the person you hate. The mechanics of unconscious mirroring start with the uncomfortable truth. A huge amount of mimicry isn't chosen. It happens automatically beneath your awareness before you give permission. Psychologists call it the chameleon effect. Your brain quietly copies the posture, the gestures, the facial expressions, the speech rhythms of the people around you. You don't decide to do it, you just do it. Back in 1999, two researchers, Chartrand and Barge, ran a now famous study on this. They put people in a room with a partner. If that partner rubbed their face, the participants started rubbing their face too. If the partner shook their foot, the participants started shaking theirs. Nobody told them to copy anything. Most of them had no idea what was happening. Your brain synchronizes with other people before your conscious mind even shows up. Now watch how this plays out with someone you can't stand. It starts tiny. You catch yourself using their pet phrase, to be honest with you. Then your emails get sharper, more clipped, a little performative. Then you walk into a meeting wearing the same tight smile they wear right before they tear someone apart. Then, in an argument, you do their exact rhythm. The pause, the sigh, the look away, the cutting sentence. You never sat down and decided, today I'm going to become them. Your brain copied the pattern because it was exposed to the pattern, over and over, under stress. And here's the part most videos about mirroring completely miss. We assume copying means liking. We mirror friends, we lean in when they lean in. We match their energy to bond. But the same machinery runs in hostile environments too. With a friend, mimicry says, I like you. We belong together. With a threat, mimicry says something colder. I understand you. I can predict you. Please don't attack me. So your brain isn't asking, do I like this person? It's asking, does this person affect my survival? And that changes everything. The biological shield of mimicry. Which raises the real question. If your brain copies someone you despise without asking you first, is it making a mistake? Or is it trying to protect you? It's protection. Mimicry can work as a kind of social camouflage. When someone feels powerful, unpredictable, or dangerous, your nervous system goes into study mode. It tracks their gestures, their tone, their timing, the exact moment their mood shifts. Not because you admire them, because predicting them gives you a sense of control. There's biology underneath this. In the 1990s, Giacomo Rizzolatti and his team discovered mirror neurons in macaque monkeys. These cells fired both when the monkey did something and when it watched someone else do the same thing. In humans, researchers believe similar systems let us simulate other people internally. Your brain partly runs their program so it can understand what they're about to do. With someone safe, that's empathy. With someone dangerous, it becomes threat assessment. Think about a kid growing up with a volatile parent. A parent whose mood decides whether the whole house is calm or on fire. That kid learns the sound of the keys in the door, the difference between heavy footsteps and light ones. A normal silence versus a dangerous one. The exact face that comes right before the criticism starts. That kid doesn't just watch the parent. They simulate them. Their nervous system rehearses the parent's mood before the parent even walks in. And years later, under stress, the body reaches for the behavior it spent a childhood mapping. Research on power and mimicry points the same direction. People who feel threatened or lower in status tend to mirror the aggressor. It's a form of appeasement. The message isn't conscious, but it's primal. I'm like you. I know your rules. I'm not a threat. Don't target me. There's also emotional contagion. Hatfield, Cacioppo, and Rapson showed that we automatically catch other people's emotions, and the negative ones spread fastest. Anger, hostility, fear, because evolution cares more about danger than joy. You'll catch your enemy's rage long before you catch your friend's happiness. So mimicking the person you hate started as a shield, a clever one. But here's the problem. What happens when you wear the shield so long that your brain stops telling the difference between the shield and your own skin? The dissonance of becoming the enemy. The first moment of mimicry isn't the dangerous part. The dangerous part is what comes after. When your behavior contradicts your values, your brain feels a specific kind of pain. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance. The discomfort of being out of alignment with yourself. You believe, I am not cruel, but you just acted cruel. You believe, I am not cold, but you just shut someone down the exact way they shut you down. That contradiction hurts, and your mind hates that pain. So it tries to make it stop. Here's the trap. Sometimes the brain reduces the conflict by changing your behavior, but often, it's easier to just change the story. Instead of saying, I acted like the person who hurt me, I need to fix this, your mind whispers something more convenient. They deserved it? This is just how people survive. If I'm soft, they'll walk all over me. I'm not being cruel. I'm being realistic. And that's where identity erosion begins. Not with the action, with the justification. Cognitive distortion and identity erosion, let me show you how it tightens. At first, you hate how your boss humiliates people in meetings. It disgusts you. Then you start noticing something. It works. People move faster. They stop pushing back. They get careful around him. You still hate him, but one day you're running a project and someone misses a deadline. You don't yell. You just use that same surgical tone he uses. The room goes quiet, and a small voice in your head says, that worked. That's the hook. Your brain starts linking the toxic behavior to safety, control, and results. What once disgusted you starts feeling useful. What once felt foreign starts feeling familiar. What once violated your values starts becoming your strategy. And there's a feedback loop driving it. You get threatened by someone, you study them intensely, you mimic them without meaning to. The mimicry makes you feel more in control. Your brain stamps the behavior as useful, you justify it, and now it's easier to do next time. Round and round, each loop makes their traits feel a little more like yours. Nietzsche saw this centuries ago. He who fights with monsters should look to it that he himself does not become a monster. And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. The abyss isn't just the toxic person. The abyss is the state you fall into when you build your whole personality around resisting them. And it's even older than Nietzsche. Proverbs warned, make no friendship with an angry man, lest thou learn his ways and get a snare to thy soul. Stay close enough to fury and you learn its rhythm. That's behavioral contagion, written down thousands of years ago. But here's something I need you to hear. If you catch yourself sounding like the person who hurt you, that doesn't mean you're doomed. It doesn't mean you're secretly the same as them. That shame you feel, that might be proof your real self is still in there. The danger was never noticing. The danger is justifying. So the question changes. It's no longer, why did I copy them? It's, how do I stop the survival version of me from becoming the permanent version of me? Breaking the mirror to reclaim the self. The way out is not to hate yourself for this, Shame just throws you back into threat mode, and threat mode is what started the mimicry in the first place. So self-attack makes it stronger. The real tool is conscious differentiation, noticing the behavior, naming it, and separating it from the person who taught it to you. Start by finding the trigger, not just the behavior. Ask yourself, who do I start sounding like when I'm stressed? What exact tone or phrase or face do I borrow? And what situation switches it on? Conflict? Criticism? Feeling ignored? Feeling small? Get specific. Something like, I go cold and sarcastic when I feel dismissed, because sarcasm is how my father grabbed power back. That level of detail breaks the spell. It pulls the behavior out of the shadows, then name the borrowed persona, not to mock yourself, to create distance. That's my boss voice. That's my ex's argument style. That's the family shutdown. Hear the shift. Instead of, I'm becoming toxic, you say, a toxic strategy is trying to run through me. That little gap is where your choice comes back. Now interrupt the body, because mimicry lives in the body before it ever becomes a thought. When you feel that copied tone rising, slow your speech. Drop your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Lower your volume instead of matching theirs. Put both feet on the floor and take one breath before you answer. That tells your nervous system, we are not in their pattern anymore. Then choose the opposite based on your actual values. Don't just ask, how do I avoid being like them? Ask, what would the real me do right now? If they use contempt, you choose clarity. If they used intimidation, you choose calm firmness. If they use silence as a weapon, you choose an honest boundary. That's not weakness. That's self-possession. And where you can, reduce exposure. Your brain copies what it keeps encountering, especially under emotional heat. So stop rehearsing imaginary arguments with them. Stop replaying their words on a loop. Stop checking their social media. Even fighting them in your head keeps your nervous system synced to them. If you can't go no contact, build a decompression ritual. After a meeting with a toxic boss, give yourself 5 minutes before you talk to anyone else. Walk outside, breathe. Ask yourself one question. What energy am I refusing to carry forward? That stops the residue from spilling onto people who didn't earn it. So let's go back to where we started. The belief was, if I hate someone, I'll naturally become their opposite. The truth is the reverse. If someone feels threatening enough, your brain may copy them just to survive. But once you can see the pattern, you get to choose protection without imitation. The goal was never to be defenseless. The goal is to become uninfectable. You can understand someone's tactics without absorbing their soul. And here's the last thing. The fact that you notice the resemblance means the real you is still watching. That part of you that froze and thought, that sounded like them, that's the part they never took over. That awareness is the crack in the mirror. And once you can see the mirror, you can break it. So tell me, who's the person you're scared you started sounding like? A parent? An ex? A boss? A friend? You don't have to name them. Just write the pattern, the sarcasm, the coldness, the anger, the shutdown. Put it in the comments. And if you want more deep breakdowns of the hidden patterns running your behavior before you even notice them, subscribe. This is the kind of thing we look at here. And if you want to understand why certain toxic people stay stuck in your head long after they're gone, watch this next video on how your brain becomes addicted to emotional chaos.